Why You Never Became a Dancer isn't just some forgotten YouTube oddity. It's an unofficial music video that carved its way into the internet's darker history books, a haunting relic that still chills those who stumble across it. On the surface, it's simple, a distorted, almost grotesque image of a woman, animated with fragmented, random snippets of conversation. But beneath that unsettling surface lies a storm of mystery. All of this unfolds against the backdrop of a track by the band White House. The song itself was inspired by a 1995 film of the same name, in which artist Tracy Emin revealed her own harrowing account of sexual assault. And yet, the song doesn't honor her story. Instead, it controversially casts doubt on it, tainting the very foundation on which it was built. With that context, the video takes on a new, almost unbearable weight. But one central question has always haunted viewers. Who was the woman in the footage? For years, desperate internet sleuths tried everything: reverse image searches, endless threads, wild speculation. Even the Japanese site zetuburo.com, famous for cataloging unsolved internet mysteries, failed to uncover her identity. Then came the breakthrough. An anonymous viewer sent the site an edited photo, and suddenly the puzzle cracked open. The woman was traced back to a book about Japanese serial killer Kihuo Kubo. She wasn't an actress or a random face plucked from obscurity. She was Reiko Tokimura, one of his 8 known victims. No one knows exactly which book the image was first published in. But one thing seems certain. This haunting photo was the direct source of the infamous video, and yet solving the puzzle didn't bring closure. Instead, it made things darker. What began as a strange, eerie upload had mutated into something far more disturbing. A chilling intersection of true crime, rumor, and digital horror. A puzzle that may never be fully solved. The Sombrini twins. The year was 2007. Out of nowhere, the Sombrini twins appeared on a small radio station in San Juan province, Argentina. Vicente and Paul Sombrini. Their rise to sudden fame was swift, shocking, and almost supernatural. But just as quickly as they appeared, they vanished. And what fueled this burst of attention wasn't scandal or music or politics. It was something darker. A legend, whispered like a ghost story. A tale now regarded as one of the most chilling pieces of lost media lore. Their father, Fernando, had dreamed of children for years, but as attempts to start a family failed, despair consumed him. When his wife, Luciana, finally gave birth to twins, Fernando was overwhelmed with joy. That joy, however, was short-lived. Just months later, tragedy struck. On a trip to Chile, Fernando lost his life in a sudden accident. 15 years passed. The twins, now grown, returned to their father's old home. There, tucked away like a buried time capsule, they found a box of videotapes. And on those tapes, they discovered something they were never meant to see. Fernando, in his years of despair, had built himself a replacement son. Not flesh and blood, but a grotesque doll stitched together from rags, wires, scraps of wood, and horrifyingly, even animal remains. He dressed it in children's clothing. He spoke to it as if it were alive. At first, his tone was paternal, gentle, even loving. But tape by tape, that tenderness decayed. His voice grew harsh, cruel, and unnervingly intimate. The twins couldn't finish watching. They fled, abandoning the tapes, leaving them to rot in that house. The recordings were never released. Only a single still frame has ever surfaced online, and it's that single, grainy image that has ignited obsessive hunts across forums and communities. What else was on those tapes? No one knows, and maybe no one ever should. Anatoly Slivko, Now, step with me into the shadows of the Soviet Union, where, between 1964 and 1985, a man named Anatoly Slivko turned his darkest obsession into a grotesque reality. It all began with a single moment in his youth. He witnessed a car accident. A driver plowed into a group of pedestrians, killing a teenage boy who wore the iconic uniform of the Young Pioneers. That uniform, that tragedy, it branded itself into Slivko's mind like fire. From then on, he became obsessed with recreating that scene, and horrifyingly, his position made it easy. He ran a children's club. He had access. He had trust. He singled out smaller boys, befriending them and persuading them to don the young pioneer uniform. He then invited them to participate in what he chillingly described as a controlled hanging experiment. Supposedly, it was designed to stretch their spines. He assured them he could revive them afterward. And disturbingly, he often did, but not always. Over the years, 43 boys were subjected to his experiments. 36 were revived. 7 never came back. All the while, Slivko documented everything. He filmed, photographed, and developed the footage himself in a private laboratory. These weren't just crimes. They were meticulously archived obsessions. When the truth finally emerged, the evidence was so damning, so horrifying, that even state television broadcast pieces of it. Audiences were shaken to their core. The facade of a trusted children's leader had shattered, revealing one of the most monstrous predators the Soviet Union had ever known. In 1989, Slivko was executed. For many, it was the only possible conclusion. A grim but necessary end to a man whose crimes had left permanent scars.
Odo Trin. But not all darkness wears the face of a killer. Sometimes it hides behind the mask of innocence. In the early 1990s, children across Estonia met a new friend. Odo Trin, the woolen dinosaur from the magical land of Mzumazu. He was everywhere. Schools, public events, milk cartons, chocolate bars. He even released music cassettes. Odo Trin was bright, joyful, and unforgettable. For a moment, he was the beating heart of childhood wonder. But in the late 90s, that wonder curdled. Suddenly, every trace of Odo Trin was erased, not archived, not shelved, destroyed. It was as if someone wanted the character to vanish, not just from television, but from memory itself. The man behind the costume was performer Leno Lauzar, working for Estonia's TV3 channel. With Odo Trin's skyrocketing popularity, the franchise seemed unstoppable. Until 1998. That year, tragedy struck. The show's producer, Tanu Pavu, caused a devastating car accident. A woman and her young daughter lost their lives. His own family was badly injured. The trial that followed was highly publicized, and the fallout tainted everyone connected to the show. And then, just like that, Odo Trin was gone. TV3 didn't just cancel the program. They scrubbed it, erased it, buried it. To this day, the episodes remain lost. A children's icon reduced to whispers, rumors, and half-remembered fragments in the minds of those who once sang along. And so these stories, from unsettling music videos to forgotten tapes, to predators hiding in plain sight, to erased childhood mascots, remind us of something chilling. The internet may archive everything, but some things, some stories, refuse to stay buried. And when they resurface, they haunt us forever. Archives, But the question lingers like a shadow. Why erase every single episode? Lusar tried to move forward. He launched a brand new children's program called Yelaya. Unlike Odo Trin, its episodes still survive online to this day. Fragments of colour and joy preserved in digital memory. For a time, Lusar was celebrated as one of Estonia's most recognisable children's entertainers. A household name, a smiling figure families trusted. But then, everything changed. In 2021, his carefully built image collapsed. He was accused of serious offences involving a minor. The charges didn't stop there. Investigators also uncovered prohibited digital material, the kind that leaves no room for doubt about its disturbing nature. And during a police raid, an unregistered weapon was discovered hidden away in his possession. Lusar stood before the world insisting he was innocent. He said he had no inappropriate interests, that his conscience was clean, that his soul was pure. But the court didn't believe him. In December 2021, he was convicted and sentenced to 5 years in prison. And so today, Odo Trin, once remembered as a bright, cheerful mascot of childhood joy, is instead remembered as one of the most unsettling cases of lost media in all of Eastern Europe. Almost nothing survives. Just 2 short clips, a pair of recipe segments, and whispered rumours of a single, high-quality episode that supposedly resurfaced during TV3's 20th anniversary in 2016. Only to vanish once more. What began as harmless fun for Estonian children has now become a ghost. A ghost of television history. A phantom of innocence. A chilling reminder that sometimes behind the brightest smiles lie the darkest secrets.
This is an old lost media video from Japan. It's a piece of footage with no clear origin, a relic that surfaced online and has refused to stay buried. An old Japanese video that seems to showcase a new kind of military development. Now, camouflage clothing has been around for centuries. Armies across the globe have relied on it. But what this footage shows, it feels like something entirely different. The video plays like a top-secret promotional reel, one that somehow slipped through the cracks and leaked years later. It has been taken down again and again, but like a ghost, it keeps reappearing, giving new viewers fleeting glimpses. And what it depicts is shocking. The apparent sale of specialized military equipment designed to make a soldier literally disappear. At one point, a Japanese soldier stands covered head to toe in reflective material, engineered, so the narration explains, to bend light around the body. As you watch, the figure fades. When the soldier moves, you can still catch a faint outline. But when he stands completely still, he vanishes, utterly invisible. The video even details the materials used, the scientific principles behind the illusion. Then the demonstration ends, leaving you staring, wondering if you just witnessed the impossible. Is this clever editing, or a glimpse into real military technology, far ahead of its time? If genuine, one can only assume the technology has already evolved far beyond this primitive version. Maybe even to the point where a soldier could move freely and still remain unseen. But here's the unsettling part. Who was this promotional video made for? And why did it ever reach the public at all? Those questions remain unanswered, buried in mystery. Noah's Ark. Noah's Ark, a 1928 feature film retelling the biblical story of the Great Flood. But this film isn't remembered for its biblical grandeur. Number. It's remembered for tragedy. One particular scene, infamous, shocking, left real blood on the set. Reports claim 3 actors drowned during its filming. Another was seriously injured. And in the chaos of that same sequence,
A 19-year-old John Wayne, working as a background extra, nearly lost his life. Watch the surviving footage, and you can see it. Performers thrashing, struggling against the raging torrent. Their terror is not staged. They weren't acting. They were fighting, not for the camera, but for their lives. That single disaster reshaped Hollywood forever. It directly led to the introduction of stricter safety standards for stunt work, ensuring no scene would ever again cost so many real lives. When the film Mita Chibancha. Now we turn to Thailand, and to a name that may not be known around the world, but in his homeland he was a legend. Mita Chibancha, an icon of Thailand's golden age of cinema. A superstar who appeared in leading roles in nearly half of the 100 films produced annually during the peak of the Thai film industry. In 1970, Mita stepped into a new role. He wasn't just acting, he was producing and directing a film of his own. It was a landmark moment, one that would also tragically become his last. On October 8, 1970, the final day of shooting, the crew prepared the climactic scene. The hero, Mita himself, would climb a rope ladder dangling from a helicopter, soaring into the sunset like a true action star. But what was meant to be triumphant turned fatal. The helicopter hovered too high. Mita grasped only the lowest rung. The blades roared as the pilot, unaware of the danger, began to ascend. Mita dangled helplessly, clinging to the ladder with nothing else to hold onto. He fought, struggling against gravity and fear, but the climb was too steep. His grip failed. And then, silence. He fell. The impact was instant. Mita Chibancha was gone. For Thai cinema, the loss was devastating. Only months earlier, pioneering filmmaker Ratana Pastonji had died suddenly of a heart attack. Now, with Mita's fall, the industry lost not just a star, but a dream. And here's the most chilling detail. The cameras were rolling. Every second of his fatal fall was captured on film. When the movie was first released in 1970, producers made a controversial choice. They left the footage in. Audiences watched the real death of their beloved actor, seamlessly woven into the climax of the story. But when the DVD was later released, the fatal fall was gone. The scene ended as the helicopter ascended, cut away to ultimate shots, followed by a solemn title card dedicating the film to Mita's memory. Since then, the footage of his fall has never again been shown, and it likely never will. Not just because